So, have any of you grenade launched an entire family of mobsters, kicking off and out of season 4th of July with a bang, as all of the goons flail their arms around in celebration?
Very funny, ha. Yes, that is a fake laugh, you jerk.
It's been quite a bit of time since Max Payne had himself at the center of discussion, and with the announcement of not only a Max Payne 1 remake, but also a Max Payne 2 remake, I'm thinking it's about time to pull my old copy of Max Payne 3 back off the shelf, or rather reinstall it from my Steam library.
I ain't slipping, man. I'm slipped.
Max Payne 3 was kind of a big deal for me when it first came out. I love third-person shooters and putting bloody holes in people's faces. Emphasis on the bloody holes. The series has had kind of a weird history behind it since Remedy Games were the primary developers of the first 2 games, which came across as very noir-inspired, visceral, somber yet philosophical experiences. During this time, Rockstar had come into acquisition of the IP, eventually taking full control of the 3rd game, which turned out to be a high adrenaline-fueled experience led by a Bruce Willis lookalike.
You'll have to forgive me for not being able to follow all this.
Rockstar manages to capture a lot of the magic that made the original series so mesmerizing, even without the comic book style cutscenes and oppressively bleak tone. Oh, and we can't forget about Mark Wahlberg.
Did you accomplish something?
Not tonight.
His movie was kinda decent. There was a lot of care taken into pushing Max's story forward with the, at the time, next generation of consoles, and you will find many references and callbacks to those older games.
Your body ain't gonna bury itself, dig, motherfucker!
Though if there is anything to mourn for, it would be the lack of cartoonish humor from the first 2 games. I distinctly remember having my eyes glued to every television set I came across in the originals, and I'll never forget about the incredible Captain Baseball Bat Boy.
Oh shit, I can't think true! I can't think true! The bomb will blow up!
Max Payne 3 sees ex-cop Max Payne in agonizing depression after the events of the first 2 games, getting wasted night after night, thinking back to the days when he not only had a living wife and child, but also had a midlife crisis and hooked up with a hot assassin chick. It seems everyone in Max's life was dropping off like flies, even the homeless guy who lived across the hall from him.
Today you will be cleansed. Cleansed in fire!
But that might be a good thing considering his explosive personality. Enter Raul Passos, a freelance gunman that takes protection jobs. He spots Max in a bar drinking his soul out one night and tries to recruit him to tag along. Max was a bit hesitant at first, but having a mob boss angry at you for
Hey! You killed my boy!
Listen, I'm sorry.
Fuck you!
and trying to kill you every opportunity that he can get can be a powerfully persuasive tool. So Max spends the rest of the game playing bodyguard to a bunch of rich people who can't dance to save their lives, and he gets to have all of the drinks he wants. That is until his client's wife gets kidnapped and he has to spend the rest of the game chasing after her. It's a pretty engaging narrative, mostly because Max Payne is such an entertaining personality that will roast everything that he sees.
They got along as well as any rich workaholic and his younger airhead wife tend to get along.
But for some godforsaken reason, the game developers saw fit to throw in a bunch of TikTok filters every 5 seconds. Every cutscene is filled to the brim with these effects flickering and flashing on the screen, supposedly is there to represent Max's addiction to painkillers and his constant hangovers, but all it does is make me feel like I'm on LSD or something. But hey, if you've got a PC, you can apparently remove this feature with a mod. I toughed it out like a Chad, mostly for video purposes. But you don't care about my brain being put into a terrible effects blender. You care about smooth responsive controls that allow you to line up perfect headshots in rapid succession, low recoil guns that rip through your enemies like bloody piñatas, riddling them with holes as they stumble and wobble in some of the most absolutely hilarious ways imaginable. You'll pop shot enemies from cover, leap through the air in super slow motion, and partake in the occasional scripted turret sequence. If Max Payne 3 has anything, it has some of the best gunplay within not just the series, but in any game I've ever played. Most of the satisfaction can be credited to Rockstar's use of the Euphoria engine. Most games have predetermined death animations for characters, or just a preset number of them. Euphoria enables the games that apply it to have a near infinite number of them. Shoot an arm, the body wobbles in that direction. Shoot a leg, suddenly your enemy is as drunk as Max Payne.
Very funny. Ha ha.
It's the same brand of physics used in another Rockstar game, Grand Theft Auto 4, and I had just as much fun shooting goons in the face there as I did here, and the main character had about as much charm.
What's your name again?
Big Mouth Prick.
Better, Cassius. Sit down.
But I absolutely cannot stress enough just how enjoyable it is seeing your enemies flop like fishes at the end of receiving an entire hellstorm of bullets from dual-wielded Uzis, shotguns blowing away entire faces with ease, snipers that make any common hood regret waking up that morning. Heck, even the pistols get a bit of praise for making me feel like John Wick as I line up headshots like Max Payne lines up drinks at the bar. And that's not even the end of the portable death machines that make up Max's entire arsenal. You can hold up to 3 different weapons at any given time, with the opportunity to dual wield one-handed guns in any particular order you wish. 2 shotguns? Cool. A pistol with an Uzi? Equally cool. As soon as I found one laying around, I chose to stick with the AK-47 for a large chunk of my playtime. There's just something oh so satisfying about seeing a bald guy in a tropical t-shirt mowing down gang members with my favorite Call of Duty gun. But hey, take your pick.
I don't know.
You'll find plenty of guns as you progress further into the game and visit the diverse variety of locations on display, from the snowy streets of New Jersey to rich extravagant nightclubs, all the way down to the slums of Sao Paulo.
What the hell is even that?
Giving you the opportunity to make a lot of interesting memories along the way. I remember this one time, Marcelo, one of Max's clients for protection, or more specifically, the one that dances like he's doing an animal mating ritual, Marcelo complained about not getting the best seat at the nightclub because some famous soccer player had already booked the spot. Well, I like to think that Max Payne is an A1 top class bodyguard, so after thugs shot up the club, killing the renowned soccer player Claudio, I did what any self-respecting man in the profession of protection would do for his client. I provided quality service in the form of shooting up Claudio's memorials anywhere I could find them. And then I traveled to Sao Paulo and shot those up too, all in the name of upholding Max's reputation as an A1 top class bodyguard. But that was only one of the many memories I'd made along this ridiculously crazy journey across the game's many locations. Max Payne 3 keeps the pace moving as you move from area to area, taking down street thugs and tactical military alike. And a lot of these enemies react to you as the player differently. Gang members are largely disorganized and fire wildly, but they're aggressive and impatient enough to charge you recklessly. Those with more trained experience tend to carry flak jackets, making them formidable bullet sponges of the most infuriating degree, so you'll have to settle for shooting them in the legs or go for the good old reliable headshot, the age-old weakness of video game enemies and zombies alike. But even their tactics in engaging Max are noticeably different as they flank the player when in cover and use communication between each other far more often. I mean, the Fear games are usually held in high regard for their combat AI being far ahead of their time, and that's for good reason. But the enemies in Max Payne 3 aren't pushovers themselves. Even on a normal difficulty, I was scarfing down the health items called painkillers like a 60-year-old army veteran because these guys just kept tagging me from all over. The game does a pretty good job of putting you in uncomfortable situations and telling you to fight your way out of them. You'll constantly be outnumbered, have enemies above you, below you, and beside you. Grenades force you out of cover. Minigun wielding enemies force you back into cover. There's never a dull moment here. Some of that credit being given to a number of glitches on display. Enemies can phase through objects, if not downright standing in one place without registering your presence at all. Glitches aside, however, Max Payne 3 has a lot to offer, and I had an absolute blast revisiting this marvel of a game. I can't wait for the original games to get their remakes so that I can come back and say hi to my good old buddy, Captain Baseball Bat Boy. Anyway, this is Rage Watch, and if you enjoyed today's video, then make the like button sparkle, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on Max Payne, or just Rockstar in general. Thanks for listening to me ramble.
Motherfucker!